What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video, man. We have a soccer player who fell victim to this situation where he was under the impression that the 3 kids that he was fathering was his own. But come to find out, supposedly kids that he were raising aren't his. And here's a kicker, right? Here's the kicker. Those 3 kids belong to a pastor. That's crazy. But before we even get into this article, do me a huge favor. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and leave me a subscribe. So I happen to be scrolling on Instagram, and look what we tripped over, right? Look what we came across. We came across this crazy story, right? And I just had a video about this where a lot of your men, right, find themselves in situations where they're taking care of a child when they're under the impression that that child is theirs. That child belongs to them. It's one thing to knowingly father a child that isn't yours, but it's another to come across your own woman, your significant other, the woman that you're supposed to trust, having kids by another man. Like that's wild, right? It's going to be very, very crazy when you come across your lady having kids by other men and you're fathering these kids as if they are your own. So one of your famous soccer players is going through some BS. Let's go ahead and read this article. So the title of the article, wife of Nigerian footballer. We're just going to call him Olin, right? We're just going to call him Olin because I do. Olin Riwaju. I just don't want to butcher the name. So we're just going to call him Olin. We got Olin KO. Gives husband 24 hours to retract paternity fraud claim, threatens legal action. So she's pretty much saying that, hey man, look dude, if you do not retract, this is from my understanding, if you do not retract this statement, right, now that everybody and their mama knows this story about us, if you do not retract this, we're gonna have to go to the court. That seems pretty, it seems pretty legit if she's going to be saying that, hey man, look, you're sitting over here saying that this is that these aren't your kids, but these are your kids. So guess what? You need to go ahead and tell these people that these are your kids. And if you don't, I'm going to have to sue that ass. So she's pretty confident. But here's what I will tell you. If I am the man, and I am confident, I know this for a fact, if I gave those kids if I went ahead and swabbed their mouths, right, and they're not my children, most definitely, hey, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Let's go ahead and go to the court. Let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. Now, this is probably going to end in a divorce, right? If it is true that these kids are not his, it's definitely going to end in a divorce. And what we need to avoid, what we should not see, is this man paying this woman anything when it comes down to the divorce. He go left, she go right, with nothing. Even though she wasted that man's time, just go ahead and walk away with nothing. We need to start to change this BS where men always have to give money to the women when it comes down to divorce, money to the women when it has to come down to child support. Let's continue. So it goes on to say there are viral reports that their 3 sons were fathered by a cleric. Ezine Doria KO'd, this is the wife of the Nigerian footballer KO'd Olin, has expressed her readiness to approach the court for remedy if her husband fails to retract his allegation of paternity fraud. Some say clerk, either or. So it then goes on to say the footballer earlier reportedly alleged he conducted DNA tests on the children and the results showed none of them belonged to him. Right. So now, of course, you're going to have a bunch of people come out and say, well, you know what? He's the one who did it. Was it official? Because he could just be trying to do this just to get out. Right. Hey, maybe. Right. Maybe. But more than likely, they're going to have to go to court with it anyway. It's going to make it to the court. Right. So they're going to do an official one. Right. And once again, it already seems like it ain't his kids. Right. Those kids are too light. Yeah. And I get it. She might be somewhat light skinned. Let's see. Right. Yeah. No, like I know those kids are just too light in my opinion, but hey, I could be wrong. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm going, it ain't his. Very rare. Right. I doubt if any, do you ever find men who are going to sit over here and say, hey, this kid that I was fathering ain't my kid, bro. So I'm going to try to sit over here and sabotage it this way. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So then it goes on to say the names of the 3 children are withheld because they are minors, which is true. KO'd a former Manchester City player who is currently playing at Turkish club Jens, I can't even say that name, maintained his wife was not faithful during their marriage, and this was why she birthed those children for another person, not him. So it then goes on to say he accused his wife of lying about her age and allegedly having an affair with Pastor Toby Edgaboyag. Once again, don't want to butcher the brother's name. Several reports online allege that the 3 children belong to the pastor. Reacting to the allegations in a letter posted on her Instagram page written by her lawyer, Dora denied the paternity fraud and maintained that no DNA tests were ever conducted on them. She therefore demanded an immediate retraction from her husband and threatened to approach the court for remedies in case of default from her husband. Now, once again, you can pretty much do your test on your own. I mean, like, she doesn't have to know that he's out here, giving these kids a test. But hey, she said that nothing was done. But I mean, once again, he can do it by himself. I mean, he doesn't need your approval. So it then goes on to say the letter written by her lawyers on her behalf reads, "It has come to our client's attention that since May 24th, 2024, various blogs and online platforms have been disseminating salacious stories about alleging results of a DNA reveal that none of the 3 children born during your marriage to our client belong to you." So then the lawyer still goes on to say, this scandalous and defaming story has spread rapidly, causing severe embarrassment to our client and children. Our client has reason to believe that these baseless, humiliating allegations were contrived and strategically planted by you across various media outlets with the malicious intent of tarnishing her reputation and causing irreparable harm to innocent children. I apologize, I meant to say irreparable. But, going back, the malicious intent to tarnishing her reputation and causing irreparable harm to innocent children. It then goes on to say, we hereby demand that within 24 hours of receipt of this letter, you issue a public disclaimer on all your social media platforms, prominently stating that no such DNA tests were ever conducted on the children and the purported test results is completely false. So it then goes on to say this disclaimer must be prominently displayed on your Instagram and any other relevant accounts to ensure maximum visibility and reach. Failure to comply with this demand will leave our client with no choice but to notify the court and seek full custody of the children in the ongoing divorce proceedings. We trust that you will act swiftly and reasonably to rectify this egregious situation. So guys, for the last part, it says the failure to comply with this demand will leave our client with no choice but to notify the court and seek full custody of the children in the ongoing divorce proceedings. I mean, people, listen to me. Any man with common sense, any human being with common sense would say, go ahead, please, I want you to go ahead and go to the courts. Take those kids, have full custody of those kids that don't belong to me. You're pretty much doing what he wants you to do, right? He wants you to go over here and go to the judge and go to the court so you can go ahead and get that divorce out the way and go ahead and get full custody of those children. Because why would I continue to put money where those aren't my kids? I'll be a fool to stay with a woman who, it's one thing for it to be one kid, even though at the end of the day it's still bad. But it's one thing for it to be one kid, but 3 kids, people. 3 kids, people. 3 kids. Bro, look, we're going to go to the court together. We're going to go to the court together and get that shit figured out because there's no way. There's no way. He needs to walk away with everything that he worked for and that belongs to him. He does not need to be given a penny to this woman who wasted his time. That's all I want to see. That's all I want to see. I want to see a man walk away from the system, a free man. I want to see a man walk away from the system with everything he came in with. I want to see a man walk away with everything he walked into the relationship with. not knowing where, I'm gonna bring 100 in, but then when we divorce, I'm only leaving out with 40% of my things and she leaving out with 60% of my stuff. Do me a huge favor, leave me a like, leave me a comment, leave me a subscribe.